Hi guys, Lauren Oliver here, coming to you for episode 25 of Ask Lauren Oliver, 25 in celebration of upcoming December 25th and Christmas. Yay, who's excited? I am. We're going to jump right in, as always, and Nicole Hackett from Twitter said, how do you know when your book is ready? I have a lot of trouble with that, not knowing when to stop editing. That's a good question. I'm going to answer that question with an analogy. You know how, like, when you're eating, especially at a big meal like Thanksgiving or Christmas, and first you're really full and it feels really good, and then you keep eating, and then all of a sudden you're so sick and you have to unbutton your pants and you can't move. That's how I feel when I'm working on books. There's a point where I can really tolerate it, and it may be giving me trouble, but I still really like working on it and editing it. And then I just get so sick, and I know that if I literally look at those pages for one more second, I'm going to burn them or throw up. And that's when I send the book to my editor. So I don't know that other people have that experience, and I'm not sure I recommend it, but that is the honest way that I know. At S. Rulier from Twitter said, what inspires you to keep writing? It's a hard question to answer. I'm not sure. Writing is just kind of part of what I do. It's kind of my way of processing the world. I never keep a diary. I've never kept a diary. So kind of writing is my version of like how I process things that happen to me, how I try to figure out answers to important questions. It's really just part of my genetic makeup. Maybe someday they'll isolate a little gene, and then it will just have lots of little words written there. Takey Reason, sorry for butchering your name if I did, from Google Plus, says, I'm a fan of your books, but even though I'm Mexican, I read them in English because in translation, I see things that lose some of the greatness in Spanish. For example, the Book of Shh doesn't translate that way in Spanish. How do you feel about translations, and do some of the losses bother you? I mean, I definitely think that that's one of the most difficult elements about translating. Some things just don't make it, and they don't transpose exactly. And yes, that does, that does feel a little bit sad to me, to have lost some of the cleverness or some of the deliberateness that I took. On the other hand, in general, I feel great about translations because it means that people all around the world are getting to read my books and to experience them. But I worry a lot. I wish I spoke every language so that I could read all my own translations and make sure they lined up correctly. You have to just put faith in your publishers and in the translators, and hope that by and large the language is preserved. Last question comes from Purple Sea Star from YouTube. How old were you when you had your first real crush, and how old was he? Man, I've been boy crazy forever. I was probably about third grade. Funny story, quick. I was in third grade, and I had this crush on this guy named Eric. Ooh, I shouldn't have said his last name. Natasha, edit that out. So I was in third grade, and I had this crush on this guy named Eric. I decided that he was the only man I would ever love. So I wanted to write him a love letter, so I lied to my mom and told her that Eric was in the hospital, so that I and all the people in his class had to write him letters so that she would, like, mail the letter, because I was in third grade. I obviously didn't know how to mail a letter. So I wrote this whole love letter, not realizing that it was a small community, so my mom would call his mom, with whom she's friends, and say that she was so sorry that Eric had ended up in the hospital. Needless to say, my mom did not let me send the letter. I was devastated, and I threw myself on the bed, saying that he was the only man I would ever love. Luckily, that did not turn out to be the case. Okay, guys, that's episode 25 of Ask Lauren Oliver. I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to send me your questions.